Hi Paradox, it's Neo here. I've actually watched all 3 of your VODs, and I want to say that the best VOD you had was definitely Antarctic, and the worst one is probably Blizzard World, with your Rialto one being a little bit on the rougher side of it than the better. So if you were playing like you did on Antarctic, I think you would climb a little bit. But I want to give you some tips that'll help you climb a lot of it. So we're gonna watch the Blizzard World VOD. The biggest thing I think you can do to rank up right now is use your cooldowns more. I want, like, seriously 203% more, 300% more cooldown usage. I want your cooldowns, at least one of them, to try on being cooldown at all times. Like, at least one, if not both, until you get to a place where you feel a little bit more comfortable. So that means I want you looking for, like, splash nades. So specifically, if they were shielded and we hit up here, they'll hit both people. If you see opportunities when a tank is, like, left his teammate, I don't want us to be afraid to just nade someone, and that will force the enemy to make a decision to either push in while they can't be healed, or to back up and wait for it to go away again. So an aggressive nade, I like to say, is also a defensive nade because it forces the enemy to disengage or die. So don't be afraid to do and use aggressive nades. And I also want you in particular to pull your crosshair up just a little bit more before you nade. Because a lot of our nades are ending up short. Another thing I find is that when we get engaged in a 1v1 situation, our instinct right now is to nade first and then sleep. I want it to be the opposite if it's possible. I would really like for us to land the sleep and then go for the nade. This serves for 2 purposes. Because if we nade somebody first, by the time they wake up, they're no longer going to be antsy. Or if we hit them immediately, it's going to be worse. And the other thing is that if we're in a 1v1 and we're losing, 1, the sleep instantly gives us time to land another shot, and 2, the nade will heal us. So if we're down 100 health when we're in these 1v1s, we'll be able to heal ourselves back. I think nade doesn't heal 100 anymore. I think it's 70. But still, if you're down to like half health, being able to nade both yourself and the enemy is very powerful. But if we do it when we first engage them, then we are not getting the healing that we need from it. So I think when we're in a 1v1, just immediately go for the sleep. We might miss it, but it's a good practice. Okay, so we've talked about splash nades and just nades in general. Don't be afraid to just aggressively go for one. We've talked now about what to do in a 1v1 situation. The last thing I want to talk about for now, before we actually watch the VOD, is the difference between Anna's 3 ways of using her primary. So we have the hipfire, we have the hard scope, and we have the quick scope. Okay. So when to use whenever. It's honestly, you're gonna have to feel for it more. I'd like to say that this is close. 30 meters and past is pretty good for a hard or a quick scope because you're more likely to land your shots. It's kind of iffy because I will say if this is a tank, you can definitely still land hipfire shots, and if they're in a really tough situation, the hipfire is so much faster that a lot of the times you can still land these hipfires on a tank no matter how far away they are. Okay? Specifically to be a friendly tank, but this can also be the enemy tank. We should quickscope. I find we don't quickscope very much, but we should quickscope when we need to heal somebody quickly, like just one healing. So let's say our DPS was down that much health, then we can just guarantee we land the shot on them and they get that healing. But it's also good to get in some damage while making sure we can still move away very quickly. Stuff like that, okay? And the final thing is the hard scope. I find we hard scope quite a bit, sometimes at a little bit too close of a range. Not necessarily, it's still decent. But there are some drawbacks to hard scoping that I think we need to consider a little bit more. One being is it slows down our movement. It's much easier to kill us here because we're strafing much slower when we're hard scoping. If barely we're barely moving at all, so it's way easier to land a headshot on us when we're hard scoping. Versus if we were just doing quick fire shot and leaving, we don't really lose our momentum. Another thing is that we lose field of view. So we can no longer see our peripheries around us when we scope in. So we end up relying a lot more on our audio cues, which can be hard to do. But we just need to keep that in mind that sometimes if we're hard scoping for a long period of time, we need to make sure we're still aware of what's around us. Okay? And the final thing is hard scoping gives away our position. So you see this yellow trail? Our enemies see that in purple. And that actually happens in the Blizzard World VOD, where we choose to hardscope one of our teammates, and we're in a not so great position because we got pushed, and the enemy is able to capitalize on the fact they see that trail. So if you're trying to hide, it's best to just try and do some hip fire shots because they don't see those. Okay, so now that we covered those topics, let's actually go and dive into the VOD.
Ready.
Sigma, present.
Okay. We immediately hear their Sombra.
Healing you.
And their Bastion, actually. So even right here, I like that we've healed the Genji once, and that's all he needed with how much he was down. So that means I would like us to just turn the corner and try and get some damage shots onto this Bastion. If somebody is even down like 20 HP, they don't really need to be healed until they're down to like here-ish, a little bit more. It's nice to have our teammates like at a more full value, but they're still going to engage regardless, and being down 20 HP really isn't going to make that big a difference. And also in terms of our Sigma, we could almost ignore him until he loses all his blue health. So that means that we can try and push in some damage into the enemy team. Yeah, I just heal him once and then go for damaging the tank. Not bad. See, that nade was a little short. Crosshair up just a hair. I'd even go for a sleep here.
My barrier is gone.
Yeah, okay. We're about to get punished for being hardscope here. I can see it.
My barrier is gone.
And the Sarissa notices it too. Oh, we're lucky we did not get javelins. This isn't bad. When we see... these people over here, this is when I would try to go for aggressive nade. So I'd pull my crosshair to probably up here, maybe even jump and then throw a nade. Possible it gets eaten by the Orisa, but I think we would have gotten it in time. And it's like extra if you know that we just got a pick on the Bastion, and 2, they have a Mercy, and a lot of the times Mercies at this elo will look for every single res they can get. So if we like pulled up our crosshair and threw a nade there, it's very possible we anti a lot of the enemy team. We could maybe even deny the res with that, because it'll allow our team to be more aggressive. Here, I'd even look for a nade. Right here, pull up the crosshair, just try and shoot it all the way back here. A lot of times it's like jump nade. Or we could go in for the sleep there too. I don't mind a Hail Mary sleep in that scenario too. Unfortunately, I got eaten. Yeah, Hail Mary sleep in this direction. Just kind of spam it. Or another nade here. Very, very JC. I like switching to hipfire here. Very good. I wouldn't worry about the soldier too much. I want to keep looking forward. We healed him once. It's soldier, and then our Mercy's over here, so he can either heal himself, which he will do, or the Mercy will heal him, which because we don't know she's about to valve, but I would just keep looking forward and try and get another aggressive cooldown over there. This would be a decent chance to nade, yeah. It's unfortunate because we kind of turned and we chose to go this way that he kind of hit this critical situation. We also have the opportunity to try and throw a nade right here, hit both of these people. They'll disengage on our Sigma, and because we have Valk up, he'll still get healed. That's actually the exact scenario where I'm saying that an aggressive nade is also is a defensive nade. Here, nade, yeah. So right, we could try and throw a nade right here. It might splash onto our teammates. So I know what happens here. And it's a little frustrating because theoretically it shouldn't work, but because this is silver, it does work. Are they? No. Are they down a teammate? Where's their Mercy? Oh, she's in the air. So they are 5 people right now. Because they got the res off. The Mercy's right above us. They're 5. We're 3. And 2 of our people are critical. So essentially we have the health of 2 people. We should not win this fight. And if anything, we should die and reset and just get out. But the I know we win this fight. So in reality, we shouldn't use nano here. I know we do because I saw this. But in higher elos, you'll still get punished for doing this. So just be a little cautious about using ultimates when we're down more than 1. If we were down just 1, I'd be a little bit more for it, but it's just really scary where if the team just had a little bit more focus, we would be just us and the Sigma because they'll focus down the Mercy, or they could have focused down the Sigma in this scenario. But this is a very scary position to be in. We should not win this.
What is that melody?
Yeah, I need us to heal the Mercy here too. So once we nail the Sigma, we know our Mercy's low, so we could try and go up for a quick scope. Or right here, just try and get the hip fire, or even nade her against right here. If we're really that desperate, and honestly, I would be that desperate.
What is that melody?
Okay.
You're powered up. Get in there.
What is that?
It's unfortunate we sleep there. When we see that people are up in the air like this, obviously I want us to heal our Mercy. But if we're not going to, just try and throw one shot into this person because we just want them to be below half health. So they'll die to the Sig ult. And it's unfortunate our Mercy died. And we have no cooldowns for this. This is rough. But I'm okay with it. This is fine. I'd go for a nade on him. Now it's too late. So now we need to nade right now, so he's good. Yeah. And this is another situation where an aggressive nade is a defensive nade. So we managed to stall this until our team gets back. That's why we do win this fight and our Genji pops off. But if we throw a nade right over here, we know she's used spin. We can probably anti her and get it nice and clean. Even nade here, just to guarantee the kill.
Tactical visor activated.
When I hear that Bastion ult, I just want to hide. Because it's possible he doesn't see us. This is fine. Reload.
Hello.
Also, when we're rotating, or when we have a bunch of downtime, I really want us to reload. I don't want you to get in the habit of reloading too much. That's like a really, really common habit, especially at this elo. But if there's like, if you are specifically rotating somewhere, like now to go to the high ground, this is a good time to reload. The other thing is we really should be the one on cart here right now. So this is just a lot of time we don't have cart push, and now we realize, and even here I want us to reload too. Anytime we are specifically turning away from our team is a good time to reload. And what sucks is because we didn't push the cart, we had to use our nade on our Sigma because we weren't able to help support him because the cart wasn't around the corner. Versus we could have maybe gotten an aggressive nade there as well. And the other good thing about aggressive nades is it builds your ult charge faster. So we'll get nano even more if we are throwing these aggressive nades because you get more ult charge from doing damage than you do doing healing.
Don't fret. I see you.
Barrier is splintering.
This is a kind of a lot of shots at nothing right now. I would just hold it. We see the Sojourn, so we could maybe hold our crosshair here for when she crosses. But that would have been a hard shot anyway.
Contact.
Now that this is starting to turn the corner, we can kind of see that this fight is about to develop in this area, like specifically right here. So this is when I want us to play a little bit further back. Once I see that our tank is on payload, I would start maybe even playing over here. If not, we can maybe rotate over this way. This is still a little close, so I'd be scared. But I want us playing a hair further back because I know this fight is about to break out right here. So generally in terms of like cart pushing, it's our job when it's far away, and then eventually when the fight starts, the payload gets to go closer to where the fight is going to take place. Especially if you see your tank on the payload, that means that you can start backing off because we don't want to be in. If we're with our tank, we're in the front line, even though that's on the payload. So I really want to back up here. This is also hit fire range, at least for the Sigma. For the Bastion, it's fine to hard to go. I'd go for the sleep on the Bastion here.
Get in there, and I will boost.
We're also saying we're ready to ult. Best ult target here is definitely Soldier, who's about to visor.
I remember this.
What is that melody?
Get in there.
Yep. And this is happening because we were a bit too close. Again, sleep, nade. It's, in that 1v1 scenario. It's a little bit rougher against Orisa because she has a bunch of things that counter both of those. But we could have tried to sleep her and then we could have naded the ground afterwards. Or if we're going to wake her, then shot nade. But we don't want to be in brawl range of an Orisa. This is just a small thing. I want you to go this way. If the fight is all the way over there, this way is a little bit better because then we can get a sight line immediately right here. If we want to keep high ground, we can rotate over this way and be up here. If we don't mind dropping, we can be over this way. We can try and get some shots in over here. I'd rather we stay high ground though, and try and play it like over this angle or over this angle. So try not to go that main way. That's only if the fight is taking place all the way over there.
The payload has reached the checkpoint. Enough whining. You're fine.
I'd go for damage touch. Once you hit the Mercy. So the things about healing people who... Well, one, healing your other support. Remember, supports have the passive where they heal themselves, and I think you can even see it kicking in here. We don't need to hit her again. We can shoot this enemy Rhine that we see right here. The other thing about healing people like soldiers or Sigma, Genji has no source of healing for himself. Soldier does have source of healing for himself, and there's a high chance that the Mercy is just tied to the hip to him anyway. And then the last thing is Sigma. If he slowly regens his blue health, so if you see him down to like here, we can still be doing damage shots. It's only when he starts getting below that it starts to get a little bit scary. He's also pretty good at cycling his cooldowns. That's all Sigma players in general. This one seems to be pretty good. I haven't watched him specifically, but in terms of like, you could slack on the healing a little bit in those cases and then go back to it once he loses all that blue health. Just throw him a shot occasionally.
Let's move.
Again, I look for an aggressive nade here. I don't really see one, to be honest. This could be a good scenario for one. This is really good. Nice shots. Good, good, good. Nice try. So if this Rhine pushes, we're gonna make sure we have sleep for him. A little bit scary hard scope, but it's okay. Look at the Mercy. If you see a big ult from your team, this looks like a good nade situation if you try and throw it right there. We can try and also look for a nade into this, especially because our Genji is blading at half health. He's getting the Mercy health, but if we just jump and nade in this general vicinity, I think it'll be decent. And it's a pretty good habit to try and combo nade with another ultimate. This Genji is like pretty good. It just sucks you have the desync between Nano and Blade. But I also like that we're not necessarily holding Nano for Blade in particular. So here, yes, nice. You sense that you're getting a bit too close and you back up. Very good. I still want us to back up a little bit more. This is hip fire range. And this is unfortunate, but this is also again where if we maybe looked for a nade right here, splashed it right there if you're feeling it because you realize you're a little bit too close. Or nade right here because we think they're engaging on our Sigma and we can maybe hit this Lucio. This is a scenario. Could have gone for a sleep here, but it's a little bit... We didn't have too much view because of our... we lost LOS with the scoping. I'm actually going to go a little bit further and say that when we realize we're too close, which you fully do, and I'm actually very proud, and this is what I mean, your positioning is generally pretty good. I would just start spamming hip fire shots right here as we back up, because we know our Sigma's going to come out, and there's a chance we hit him, and there's also a Rhine right there. So I would just spam hip fire shots, so that way we don't lose LOS and we don't lose the speed. And then we might have been able to sleep the Rhine if we saw that. Turn, nade. Nice. Nice. Just keep backing out. Good. I keep backing out. It's fine. Now to run. So I say back out because if somebody pushed, like one of the enemy pushed over here, we're just kind of hard scoped and it's kind of an easy shot for them. There's no one who can, or Sojourn could kind of one shot us, but then in our Sig ults we can try and push up, follow up with a nade or something along those lines. This is unfortunate. I would nade right here. We see the Rhine drop a shield, just nade that. We'll get ults, and then we could, yeah, good nade. You see your nade actually force them to back out. We are down. We're down the Mercy, and our Genji is low, but because we got this nade, and our Sig Us suck. So this should be a free push for them, but guess what? You naded. They can't push anymore. They back up. And you break the shield because of it. So now this is a 3v4. When do we get nade again? Oh, shoot. I was not expecting that. This is when I was thinking we could probably go for another jump nade like the second we get it. If not, just throw a sleep out there. So like right there, Bastion's a really easy sleep target because of how big his model is. We just look here, go for a sleep. This could be really big. Or for a nade, if you think you can hit both of them, I would go for a sleep because we want to try and get an isolated pick. Bit scary. I don't mind the hard scope here, but now, yep.
Taking care of you. Correct.
We want a nade on Lucio.
Tactical visor activated.
Nano?
You're
Good.
powered up. Get in there.
I'm feeling unstoppable.
I am unbreakable.
Nade, definitely. You know he doesn't have shield.
You're powered up.
So when we hear this, barrier down, I would try and get a nade right there, because then we can try and hit both of these people. Or we could even try and splash it off the back right there. I don't mind just the Rhine down. Because he doesn't have shield, so it should be an easy cleanup. Good picks, good damage. I don't mind any of this. Nade on the Lucio. Lucio is very hard to kill, much easier to anti.
Keep fighting. The payload is approaching its destination.
Ooh, we're a bit close. This is a bit better. Good job. I think we're gonna go, once you hit one shot on the Lucio, I would just try and get the second shot on the Bastion, because you can hit him right here. There's a better shot. There. You can hit the Bastion. Boom, nice.
Is that
We're running out of time. Move quickly.
No.
Ready. Ready for battle. Five,
defend with me?
4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
The barrier appears.
Healing you. Help me.
Okay. Let's watch this again.
Oscar Mike.
Okay. I want aggression. I love aggression as a support. I like that you told your team to hold up here. It's definitely the call. Go for some shots here. I would just even hard scope this until we see them, and then we can go for like shot sleep maybe or something along those lines. But I would just go for the damage there. I think we could have gotten like a few picks onto the Bastion. And we can get, now their shield is down, we can jump and nade, try to get it past the Rhine. If we land it like over here, that's good. But if we hit the Rhine, that's still gonna be good.
Help me.
But definitely go for a sleep, especially when we notice that shield's broken. Or, not a sleep, a nade. Sleep too.
Keep fighting.
Definitely go for nade here. So one good thing about the Curie v Ana matchup is obviously Curie can cleanse your nades, but especially at this elo, if you just nade a single person, it's highly likely she uses cleanse, and it's possible your team wasn't even going to follow up on that nade, and you get out of probably the most impactful cooldown in the entire game for the third most impactful cooldown in the entire game. Like, nade is very, very strong. Cleanse is even stronger. It's a better trade. I don't mind it. I really don't mind it because it's if you do an early nade and you get out an early cleanse, it's highly likely you kill somebody because you did that.
Taking care of
I don't mind that. I'd go for a sleep here. Yeah, there are just so many people down that angle. You have a while. Just aim right there. Hit the sleep button. You might land one. I still don't mind saving it because we know this Winston's gonna jump us, but I think it's okay because if Winston jumps us, we have a lot of cover we can play around. Our Mercy will come peel, and he's like almost guaranteed dead with our soldier. And if we still have nade, as long as we have one cooldown, we have a pretty good chance of surviving the monkey jump.
Barrier unsuccessful.
I'll splash that.
this. We cut the pain.
Nice try. I think we, like, yeah. This is just, if your crosshair is a little bit higher, we can definitely splash against this Bastion. And then when we see the Mercy come in, even juicier. Up here, splash nade. It'll hit both the Mercy, the Bastion, and the Genji. We ended a little bit low, so it hit the ground right here instead. I think that can even be solved by just jumping beforehand, but I'd rather you get used to pulling your crosshair up. I just quick scoping once and then go for damage again. Yep, just break the shield. And now tasty nade. We broke shield. This is a free nade.
I see you.
Right here. Absolutely free. Which means we can get a free res, which means we can maybe even nano somebody. If we get a good nade right here, I just nano anybody.
Barrier is nearly
And we know they didn't have shield too.
Close your eyes.
This is the exact scenario where I think I just walk into him and go for the sleep. I understand because we're down half health. But it's possible if we sleep him here, we back up. If he jumps us again, the Mercy is helping us. We can nade him when he's the other way.
Close your eyes.
Because he's already no longer anti.
You're powered up. Get in there.
My tactical visor is charging.
I don't love the nano there, but I understand why you did it. Okay, here's why I don't love it. our Mercy is Valking, so that means he's getting 60 heals per second is one thing, so I'm not too worried about him. And it might cause him to be aggressive when our team is trying to back up. So there might, like, nanoing him here might cause some desync between the tank and the rest of the team, specifically the supports. Because we're not able to help him.
My tactical visor is charging.
And we're close to Nano Blade and or Nano Visor. But I don't get me wrong, I don't hate it. He did end up backing up, so it was fine. He has ults, which is also a good thing. Your Genji came back at similar times, so you're able to follow up on the Winston. I don't mind it.
We all die eventually.
This is a tasty name. Right here. Just land it right there. It'll hit at least 2 of them, if not all 3 of them. And that would force out, like, Wraith when we've, when our Genji's in. And now he's blading. Nice sleep. Just go for a shot there. She's getting...
Getting drowsy.
Do you hit the Moira? Yeah, I would just... I'd maybe even... It's a good practice to get... to do shot nade when you're waking up a target. Just to get that extra damage in. And then again, if we threw nade right here, there's a chance it hits the Moira, but she fades out anyway, so it's less likely.
Hello.
Nice. So now our team needs to reposition. This actually really bothers me. This is not you, it's the team. Like, your Sig is just AFK with a half health shield on point, when he could be using this time to recharge the shield or hold up to this position, which you're correct that your team needs to come back up to here. I don't think that means that you necessarily need to be up here, but if you notice your team isn't pushing, just be prepared to fall back really fast. And it's even more important when the enemy has a Winston. We heard him jump, and I think he used shield too. I just keep falling back. If you see your Sig's not participating, just fall back. This is a scary cross, yeah.
Sweet dreams.
It's not bad. Yeah. So we were kind of caught out because we were pushed up when our Sig wasn't there to help us. What kind of sucks is we do need to keep pushing this way because we know the enemy team's going to be able to come up kind of fast the other way. It's also a little bit sad about the nade. Because we know the enemy team is coming up this way, I would maybe hold it for myself to keep going over that way safely. It'd be nice to have it right now. But I really like that you're in this position now. This is a good one to be in. Hide. You know the Winston's gonna jump us? Yep. I like how we went for an aggressive nade here. It's just unfortunate because we can kind of predict that the Winston's about to jump us because he looks at us. Right here, he is very clear LOS of us, and I know he's going to jump us next, so this is one of the situations where I'm pretty happy I have both my cooldowns, because we can just go in for the sleep, and then we can try and do a defensive nade here, because they have a lot of pressure from killing our soldier. And that was a very good try.
I'm not finished.
The answer remains nebulous.
60 seconds.
Yeah, I'd start trying to take the high ground here. So as soon as we're right here, I just go up the other way and try and take this high ground. And honestly, I would still play even after getting this high ground and try and be over here because our team isn't here to follow up with us. So if Monkey sees, like, if we come up this stairway and then we're like here trying to shoot the monkey can see us and he might jump us. Or even if we go this way and try and get like a nice nade over this way, the monkey can see that the soldier will come up and just murder us. So I would go up this high ground, but then I would just chill for a second, like all the way over here, until our team is ready to engage, and then we can engage from a high ground angle. And we'll be much safer if we're like over here-ish. And then we also have the opportunity to drop down if the monkey chooses to jump on us, or just peek for our Mercy to come and peel for us. But like specifically and on Antarctic, you were really, really good about resetting to high ground. I want that kind of drive on other maps too. On Rialto. as well. I want that drive. I don't mind the damage in here. But I want his high ground just to make sure we can like heal the Sig up there.
Don't fret.
Since we don't have that upward mobility, it's important we try and learn good times for rotations. This is unfortunate. I think we were typing. That's fine. It's decent hip fire range, but I don't mind. This is the hard scope. It's nice. There's not too much for us to do right here. That's also why I'm like, if we were at this other angle, we're kind of just shooting shots into our full health Sig at the moment, versus if we were like over here. Let's watch this fight develop from this angle. Like, we could try and heal our Reaper, or shoot the Winston, or still shoot the Winston, and now we could try and shoot the Mercy. We could try and, again, shoot the Winston. We saw Soldier for a second. Stuff like that. And if he saw us, we see all these people here, we just hide over this way. And then we can try and sleep the Bastion, and then we'd probably, like, drop over this way when we see that Bastion. But now their Bastion is on the high ground, and nobody even tried to contest him. So it's actually much more this fight. And doing all that extra damage might have led up to us to be like 90% flipped right now. I don't think we necessarily needed to do a defensive nade here. Because we have the Valk going, as long as we focus the people who are critical and we do land the no-scope on the Reaper and we just hit the Sig a bit more, he's fine. And then we could try and nade the Winston when he jumps here, or if he chose to jump us, we could land it on him then.
Tactical visor activated.
You're powered up. Get in there.
I don't think we needed that nano at that time, but I probably would have used it anyway, because if we were on that high ground angle, we definitely would have had time to nano visor. Now I want us to reset high ground as well. Take the time, rotate.
ازيك عامل ايه؟
I don't mind this angle, just high ground is even better, because then we can fall into this angle if we want to.
I've got you.
Yeah, look for damage. Don't do it on the monkey. Do it on somebody a little bit more squishier. So here, like, we have a split second where even if you just want to keep getting used to throwing hip fires at them, that's fine. I would just hard scope and try and get this Soldier or the Bastion. Probably the Soldier in all honesty. But there's a good shot in the Bastion again we could take.
Got you in my sights.
Should be where? Yep, it's fine. This is a scary angle. You should honestly die. Here. Yeah, look at how many enemies can see you. If the Soldier just turned and he was damage boosted, you'd be hit with a 150 shot and then headshot twice and be dead.
Stand up straight. I'm under attack.
Nade. Whew. But because we do survive and we heal up the Reaper, right here, walk into them, or nade right here. Just walk in a little bit, nade right here, force both of them back off. Guarantee these 2 kills. And instead we die to nade. And I think our team loses this fight because of that. Oh no, our Reaper pops off. This guy's very good at the game.
One of these days I'll end
I
up
noticed
in
this.
Fiji.
This is literally such like the tiniest things. You can jump onto this table and just walk straight out. You don't have to take the stairway. Literally the smallest thing, but I just wanted to let you know that you can just hop on this table and then hop up here and you're good. Okay. Again, high ground angle. Especially if we have time to rotate and take it.
What is that melody?
Okay. Nice. I would...
What is that?
Once the Sig hits here. I would just try and throw one shot in the Mercy just to guarantee she dies here, but it's okay because, like I said, 6 half health, so it's possible he dies, but it's unlikely.
60 seconds remaining.
Damage shots, good try. It's unfortunate. Your Sig just got too greedy. You guys should win this. I'd back up. Yeah, keep backing up. Good, good, good.
I have you.
This is good. Tasty nade right there. Right.
I have you.
We heard the Winston jump. Right here. Just nade right there. You'd hit all 3 of them. So now we're in a little bit deep. This is a scenario where I'm like, we cannot let them know we are here. We've used our cooldown. We don't have the cooldown, or we've used nades, so we can't heal ourselves. Only hip fire. Do what you can. We can't get out of here anymore. Hip fire only. They cannot know we're here.
Heroes never die.
And because we do hard scope,
Enough whining.
the soldier sees us.
Rest up,
Good
old
sleep.
man.
Nice.
Can go down.
But if we were a little bit worse, or if he was a little bit better and he noticed like a second faster, it would have been a lot rougher. Let me actually confirm that that's exactly why he saw you.
Heroes never die.
Oh, he just saw you.
30 seconds remaining.
That's a little ironic. Wait, I'm on the wrong person. That's why. Okay.
Form up on the payload. Move it out.
Yeah. Somebody pings you. They see you? I don't ping you.
Form up on the payload. Move it out.
Sterben nicht.
And then you can see the shots and hear them.
30 seconds.
Yeah, he whiffs that, but if he... The reason why he whiffs that is when he sees you right here. Oops. Too far. He should have right-clicked you. Yeah, he didn't helix you, and so you got away with it, but if he was a little bit better, he sees you, helixes you, headshots you like 3 times, and you're dead. Or he even helixes you before you nade. This is also so very rare. Like I said, in 1v1s, I really want us to sleep before we nade. Soldier and supports are a very specific exception where it is better to nade first. Because then if he puts down heal pad, it won't matter as much.
Rest up, old
And he does
man.
put down heal pad, so you get away with it. Because if we can especially like shot sleep someone, then the nade is even stronger.
Can go down. My ultimate is fully charged. Get in there.
So we have Nano and we have Blossom and we're close to Visor.
10 seconds
So we really want to try and combo with
Steady.
one of those
Victory is
ults.
nearly ours.
Just because it's close to the end time, I'd still be cautious about pushing up. So I would consider I'd just stay where we were. Honestly, just so we have an out in case something happens or they touch. I also don't love the tank Nano here, even though she's half. I'd much rather try and get the Reaper Nano if we know where he is.
You're powered up. Get in there.
That's unfortunate.
Dual visor activated.
I'll keep you
I am fully focused.
The good news is she gets 2 and a res. And you know what, for good measure, let's watch Mercy pop off.
No one can stop me.
Dual visor activated.
Anyway, okay. But I hope we've paused a lot, so it's a little bit even rougher to see, but this is what I mean by I really want you using your cooldowns like 2 to 3 times more. Just constantly have at least one of them on cooldown. I'd even be fine for you playing for a while to have both on cooldown. It's kind of a taboo subject because you generally want to have one to save yourself if you get jumped. But I kind of want you to drastically play differently, to just yeet your cooldowns, and then you'll get a sense of it. I want you to overcorrect, and then we can kind of tone it back down to, oh, okay, I see why I want to save one. But I really, really want you to try overcorrecting and see what happens. one final thing I'll say is part of the reason I want to play high ground more and why high ground is so good is because specifically for splash abilities, high ground, it's so much easier to land a splash ability from an upwards angle than it is on the ground. That's partially why we need to pull our crosshair up. It's because it is harder to land a nade on the same level, on the same plane. It's much easier when you're on a higher angle. Like you pulled out your sleep dart gun. But if we're up here, it's way easier to be, well, not particularly in this, but to land that nade on the bastion. So much easier than to say we were here. This is much harder. So the more we get used to making sure we rotate to high ground in the downtime, the more value we'll get off of aggressive nades because they're just so much easier to land on a high ground angle to a low ground angle. So yeah, that is part of it. So like I said, generally your instincts and positioning is pretty good. I just want us to get used to taking time to go and rotate to high ground. We were so good on it and on Antarctic Peninsula that I want it to carry over to the other maps as well. And yeah, I hope that helps. And if you have any questions, feel free to just let me know. Bye.